Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Second Act Actors. I'm your host, Dr. Janet McMordie, and I'm still a medical doctor simultaneously trying to pursue a career in acting. My guest this week is Christina Fox. Christina is a first act actor. From the age of 9, they knew they wanted to do the acting thing. They went to a arts high school. They went to theater school, the National Theater School, the big one in Canada, and then has pursued a creative career ever since. And y'all know how much I love talking to these individuals because my upbringing was very different than that, in a good way and also in a bad way. We have an incredible conversation because not only has their career involved acting, it's also involved things like fight direction and most recently, intimacy coordination. Christina was the intimacy coordinator on 2 of my short films, and they also acted in one of my short films as well, too. So we have a huge conversation about that part of the entertainment industry, intimacy coordination, and also reflecting back on their experiences in theater school, which, as they say, it was complicated, but an incredible conversation with one of the most incredible creatives I have ever met in this insane industry in this beautiful city of Toronto. Please enjoy Christina Fox. So tell me your story. How did you get into this crazy business?
I did Peter Pan the musical as a 9-year-old, which I was just talking to somebody about the other day, and we're like, we can never do that again.
Was it super problematic one, the Ugawag one?
Obviously. Yes. Should never be done again, ever. But I did it, and I absolutely loved it. I memorized every single other person's I knew all the lines, I knew all the choreography, I knew all the entrances and exits, and the studio owner was like to my mom, like, do you think that your kid wants to do this? And my mom was like, do you want to do this? And I was like, yes. And so being lucky enough to live in the GTA, I just got an agent and started auditioning and did a whole bunch of film classes as a kid. And so was professional from the age of 10. Which is wild. I was not super successful as a child actor, which honestly, as an adult, I am grateful for. In some ways, grateful for. And then I went to an arts high school, which was just a blast. It was amazing. And then I went to theater school. I just was I just knew from the age of 9, 10, I was just this is it. This is it for me. I've found it. I'm lucky I found it early. I'm unlucky because this industry is so hard. But I was like, there's something else I could do. And I still am nope, I have to be in the arts in some way, shape, or form. Yeah.
And when, was there ever someone, because I always think it's really cool. And I'm not saying that my parents were ever saying, no, you can't do anything in the arts. But I always think it's really cool when I hear stories of people saying, oh, my mom saw I like this and we just did it.
Yeah.
Was there ever a time or was there ever a human in your life who said, okay, this is not a logical career path, cute, right?
Yeah.
But you're a very adorable child, but it's not something you can do. Mm-hmm. You're insane.
Yeah. I think the benefit was that I was not an adorable child. And I have 3 older sisters, all of whom are geniuses, and all of whom picked very different paths from me, and from each other. And so I've just always been very loud and very obstinate. So my mom very much lives on the philosophy of follow the child, and just whatever they are into, you just follow them to whatever they want to do. I'm sure my dad had some moments where he was okay, so what's your backup plan? And I'm pretty sure he asked me that on a chairlift once when we were skiing. He was like, what's your backup plan? And I was like, bartending. And he shut up. He never asked me anything ever again. I mean, he still does to this day. He kind of goes like, so what are you gonna do? And I'm like, what do you mean? What am I gonna do? Like, I'm almost 30. Like, this is it. I don't know what to tell you, you know? I just never listened. I was like, I'm not interested, and I'm just going to immediately shut you down. Like, so I was very lucky that most of the voices in my sort of world were like, yeah, you could do this, which is great. Because I was really like, cool. This is all I'm doing.
And so, what is it about the arts, about acting, about this world that you're like, nope, this is it. This is it.
I think there's multiple answers for that. I think because as a kid, I think it was having a safe place to put my emotions, having a safe place to feel big emotions and show them to people and have them seen and validated in a really special way. So I think as a kid, and obviously I just loved attention, like youngest of 4 kids, like just loved attention, and I still love attention. I'm not ashamed of that. So as a kid, I think it was very much that, just like wanting attention and wanting, like, I just loved being able to like be other people. And then I think the reason I'm still in it is because the older I've gotten, the more I realize just how creative I am as a person and how intrinsic that is to me. And so acting isn't the only creative outlet I have. I'm also like, I also illustrate, I also do embroidery, I also do like photo shoots as like another mode of visual storytelling. Like I'm doing all sorts of different, I'm writing, I'm directing, I'm, you know, any sort of creative outlet that I can get my little hands on, I'm in. Whether it's a personal practice or one that makes me money. But acting is like the mode that I feel most drawn to, I think, because I love storytelling in every sort of medium of art that I use. It's always about storytelling or sharing an emotion or connecting in some way. And so like acting is just like the pinnacle of that in terms of being able to embody it as well as share it, as well as connect with people. Like, you could write a novel, but you don't get to be in the novel. And I want to be in the novel, you know, in the way that you are like in a play or in a movie. I think that is like just the best part of it, is like being able to be there in a room with people or in a movie theater with people, and being in the same story as them and all sharing it together, I think is so important and fun and delicious and scary and hard and all of the things. Yeah. So I just am like, I just have to be creative in some way. And acting is just like, it gives me the best of all of the worlds. Yeah.
I just thought of something and I don't really know what my question is. Let me just see if I just verbalize it, see if it comes out.
Love.
Something I thought of when you were saying that is like, I think we as a society maybe put people in kind of like 2 different buckets, or maybe it's just my brain that puts it in 2 different buckets. There are people who are like, I am and I always use this example because I'm like, well, I am an accountant. That is what I do for my job. But I have creative outlets that I do. I crochet, I do this, I do that, blah, blah, blah. I write, I illustrate, but that's not my like job.
Yeah.
But then there are people who are like you, like you're explaining, like, this is it for me.
Yeah.
What do you think, like, what do you think makes a person one or the other?
That's such a good thing to ponder. One, I wish more people were in category 2, in that I wish more people who were accountant-y in their job were creative more in their hobbies. I feel like I know a lot of people who don't have creative hobbies, but I think being creative is intrinsic to being a human being.
Yeah.
I wonder if it has something to do with, like, how you were raised, the opportunities that were given to you. Certainly has something to do with privilege and access to money and, your parents having time to put you in art classes and foster that sort of belief in you that you could potentially do this. And then I think there's some sort of crazy. That's it.
A little bit of like delusion.
Yeah. There has to be some sort of crazy involved to be like, yeah, I'm going to be an artist in late stage capitalism.
Yeah. It's funny. I'm reading Joni Mitchell's biography right now.
Oh, okay.
And she was honored at like the Canadian, and this is a while ago, she was honored at the Canadian Songwriters Hall of Fame or something like that. And Margaret Atwood introduced her. And Margaret Atwood said, we are of the same vintage, Joni Mitchell and I, like early baby boomers. We are part of what's called the lunacy generation. And this was like a Margaret Atwood term, where it's like if you said, I am going to be a writer, or I'm Joni Mitchell, I'm from the prairies, and I'm going to be a singer-songwriter, people would be like, lunatic.
Yeah, you're crazy.
You're crazy. And it's interesting because I think there was a bit of a flip, and I think, we're about a decade apart, but still kind of like, I'm an elder millennial, you're a young millennial. But like, we both had, I think, similar vein parenting, being like, you can do anything you want.
Yeah.
What your heart desires.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like a flip.
Yeah.
Right? So, but both of it, I think, still puts careers of whimsy in like the lunacy part of the world.
Yeah, I think it's like you can do anything you want. And we really hope, especially to people who grew up as girls, we really hope that means like you could be a lawyer, you could be a doctor, you could be a politician, you could be, you could be like running a bank.
You can have it all.
Yeah. And I was like,
burnout included.
Yeah. Gifted kid burnout included. Yeah. And instead I am like, yeah, I will do none of that. Like and it really has backfired, especially like in my family. Like nobody's interested in the grind out of like myself and my siblings. Like we're like, no, like no, thank you. Yeah.
Which I think, and this is not an original thought, my algorithm shows me this all the time, like that's the ultimate form of like raging against the patriarchy and capitalism, is being like, I'm just going to rest and I'm going to be okay with that.
Yeah. And like, actually, I refuse to just like, all of us are like, yeah, I'm not going to own a house. I'm probably not going to own a house. And that's okay. And it just means that the financial structure of my life is going to be very, very, very different from the financial structure of my parents' lives.
Yes.
And that's okay. It's really scary because we don't know what it means. But I mean, the world is on fire. So what the hell is the point of doing anything except for what you love doing?
Yes.
In 2025?
Yeah. 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 And I think, again, we can talk more about like millennial, generational, blah, blah. We are, I think, the first generation where there is that change where, I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm on the like, I don't really know how to balance the like logical, pragmatic brain that's like, buy house, pay down debt, do the things that your parents said and did and were really good at and are saying save for your retirement, versus the other side of my brain being like, retirement doesn't exist anymore in the world that you currently live in. And YOLO, as the kids say, like, where is that balance?
No kid says that.
Okay. Elder millennial, what a loser. Side part included. Like, it's funny because to be in that world makes it even more confusing, I think, right? And I think when you're kind of I don't want to say the guinea pigs, but kind of the first people to be like, oh, everything has changed from what it's been like for so long. Lunatics.
Yeah. And we're all just trying to adapt and survive.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing else to do except for adapt and survive.
It's so true. So true. Well, ranting aside, take me back to theater school. I am fascinated by people who went to theater school because what was it like? Did you have a good experience, bad experience, neutral? Tell me everything.
Yeah. So I went to the National Theatre School of Canada, which is in Montreal. And for listeners who don't know what that is, they accept 12 acting students a year. At that point in time, it was 6 women, 6 men. So I was one of 6. I was 17 when I started because my birthday is late. So I turned 18 within like 2 weeks of starting. So straight out of high school. And often people go to NTS as almost like a master's degree. So there was a range of ages in my class. So I was 17 and there were a bunch of other people who were 17, 18 out of high school. And then there were other people who were ranging in their 20s. So yeah, my experience was very, yeah, if you've ever met somebody who went to theater school, we all joke about our trauma. I have a lot of rage for my time at theater school, and I have a lot of love. I think certainly the training that I got, it's a very classically trained conservatory style program modeled after like RADA and Lambda, a sister school to Juilliard. So it's very intense, very, very, very intense training. It's like you're there from 8 to 6 p.m. Monday to Saturday, and usually way later than that. So you have one day off a week to get all your laundry and grocery shopping done. It's very physical. Like there was a lot of physical training, which I really appreciated. Like we worked out every morning at 8 a.m. We had like movement classes. We had ballet. We had 20th century dance class. We had lots of stage combat training, which was my favorite. You know, that's something that has snowballed into, my fight direction self. And then also more recently into my intimacy coordinator work, which is of course how we met. So I'm so grateful for that little nugget because I truly think, Anita Natoli was my teacher when I was there, and she's my mentor and dear friend now. And I think meeting and working with her is one of the luckiest things that has ever happened to me. And I think, my training as an actor, I think the training was incredible. Some of the people we got to work with were amazing. And some of the training was really harmful. This was all pre-Me Too. So yeah, and theater school is just, 12 people in your class, it's crazy. That's not enough people. You're just like, you just go crazy because the community is so small. Some of the work was damaging. The expectations, I think, were damaging. Certainly installed a high standard and a high work ethic and rigor. There was no mental health resources at the school, which, as somebody who's now spent a lot of time in therapy, a lot of the work you do in theater school, a lot of the work that you do in voice class and in movement class in particular, which are your core classes as an actor at NTS, it's like you take those like almost every day. A lot of it is somatic based work. So that's like mind, body, breathing. And that can unleash and uncover a lot of hidden traumas in a body and in a person. And so to be putting young people through this program and not to have mental health support is, I think, very inadvisable. I think it's actually, I think in order to create a safer space, in order to create actors who are coming out well-rounded and not needing years of therapy to eliminate this common joke that we all have of theater school trauma. I think mental health support within the institution that is at the same time separate from the institution is non-negotiable. Like you know? We didn't know what boundaries were.
Mm-hmm.
And we had
Mm-hmm.
none.
Yeah.
We also, at that school, I didn't get graded. We didn't get a diploma. I didn't get a degree. So there's also this other aspect of like, they would just you could just get kicked out of the program, but that doesn't often happen. There are other theater school programs that are cut programs where it's a money grab and they bring in 50 students, and then by second year, they're down to 25, and by third year, they're down to 12. Which is just so damaging and evil, in my opinion. So we didn't have a cut program. We also didn't get a degree. Yeah, so theater school feelings are complicated. They're complicated. Yeah. I have a lot of gratitude and a lot of love for some things and a lot of rage for some other things.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. And,
you know, it's interesting.
I was so unregulated the entire time I was there because it was impossible to be regulated.
I was about to say, how would you even have the ability, the time, the energy to regulate yourself?
Yeah, you don't.
When I'm imagining, they're like, no, a regulated self is not a good actor make.
Which is crazy because it's actually the opposite.
Right. Yeah.
Like, the more regulated you are, the more grounded you are within yourself, the better you are as an actor. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that experience in theater school pushed you towards the work that is required and on the work that you do to become an intimacy coordinator and intimacy director? I've done the first little class that you can do.
Yeah.
And there was so much of that discussion in it.
Mm-hmm. I think my work as an intimacy coordinator has delighted me in showing me how many pieces of myself and my life come together for this role. It truly has brought me so much joy. I think, yes, certainly my experiences in theater school, I think I am a highly sensitive person, which means that I have sensory issues. I can't stand tags. As a kid, I hated wearing socks. But it also comes with this ability to really read other people's emotional states really well. It's like a little secret superpower that I have. That certainly comes into play. Unfortunately, my mental illness and my therapist hates when I call it mental illness, but my journey with my mental well-being has meant that I've been in a lot of therapy, which has given me a lot of tools in terms of communication, in terms of regulating nervous system and somatic nervous system regulation practices. And my time in theater school, my time existing in the world as I'm non-binary, but as a person who lives inside a body that's perceived as female, has certainly given me a deep sensitivity towards contact between people. You know, we didn't have intimacy coordinators when I was in theater school. My life as an actor, having those experiences, having those things happen to me as an actor, my director brain coming in, which couples with all of my fight training, which is all about body safety. It's all about partner work. It's all about how do we keep each other safe. All of those things have sort of pooled into this one role as an intimacy coordinator, which I am wow, so many different pieces come together in a beautiful way of because it's all about keeping people safe, but it is at the end of the day also about storytelling.
Yes.
It's about why are these characters connecting here and now, and how are they doing it, and how do we tell that story to the audience, and letting actors have agency in that, and letting actors say, you know what, I think my character XYZ, they feel this way, or yeah, actually I don't think I would be touching them yet, I think it needs to be something else, all of those things. And then in film in particular, it's all of the protocols, it's my type A Virgo brain going, let's check all of the things off the list, so it's so fun because it truly is just every part of me gets lit up by this job, which I am like so grateful for and so in love with. And also I just love being a person on set who gets to say no. From being like an actor from a young age, which just really, you know, like leaned into my people pleaser part of me. Because actors are very much often in people pleaser mode, you know?
Yes.
What is an audition for a young actor except for like me, please like me, please. What do you need from me? What do you want from me? Well, you know, and it's just all about like, how do I get you to like me or choose me or pick me? And it's so fun as an adult to be like, yeah, no, they're not going to do that. Like, I don't care if that's what you want. We already established boundaries around this. Like, no. Actually, I'm not okay. Like, no, that person we're on a close set. Get out of the room. You know, like all of those types of things like that. I also love getting to do that for actors. And so that actors have that voice without having to be worried about like potential clapback from that.
Yeah. It's really powerful. And
Yeah.
it's really powerful. And I think also what it does is it creates better art.
Oh my God. Yeah. 100%. Just 100%. Whenever people are feeling like they're being held, like they're being seen, like they're being validated, immediately artists are like, And once they're like, then their creativity gets to come online. You know, then everything gets to come back online because they're not in hypervigilance. You know, again, that nervous system regulation. Like, once everything comes back online, it's like, oh, a world is open to us. And then we get to start having fun.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I'm stressed about this. I'm worried about this. I don't know how to do this. And I get to come in and be silly, goofy, giggly while also showing them like, I am also a wall. And nobody will come between you and me. You know, like, I'm here to protect you. Then they're like, oh, okay. You know, or like, especially with being on set, it's like, oh, there's somebody here who's just watching to make sure I look good. That's all Christina is doing. Because that's not what the director's doing.
Yeah.
Because the director is doing a million other things. You know, and I am just there going, yeah, you look amazing. You look amazing. You look so good. Do you want to see what the frame is? Do you want to see what the shot is? Like, you know, because obviously it's so sensitive. It's like it lives on in perpetuity and it's you half naked.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you look good because it's going to live on the internet for forever. You need somebody there who's just like, you look amazing, sweetie. Like, yeah.
It's so interesting because, and again, I look back at the world prior to intimacy coordination and the world prior to fight direction being a big thing. And it kind of is a weird, like, how did this not exist before when, you know, I mean, there was a lot of amazing press that came out, but then you get some actor pushback being like, oh, intimacy coordination decreases the spontaneity. I mean, it was all cishet white dudes, but who said that. But there's again, that weird feeling of you are the fun police and you're saying no, but it's like, no, it's not like you're saying no. You're saying no, but this is how it's going to look better.
Yes.
Like, it's going to make it look better.
Yes.
You're making this easier for everyone.
Yeah. And you know what? For the most part, I have been lucky that I haven't come into contact with people with pushback. But I have had some experiences where actors are rolling their eyes at me. You know, they're frustrated that I'm there. And, you know, I think sometimes what happens from those experiences, and that's more in theater than it is on set, because on set, there's lots of protocols to follow. And in theater, it's like I'm in the rehearsal process and then they go do the live show, right? So sometimes I think that attitude comes down to like a lack of time for me to really connect with the actors. You know, when things are rushed and it's just like, okay, we have to choreograph you making it with this person in 10 minutes. Hi, hello, nice to meet you. I'm Christina. Like, when that happens, then there's like a bit of pushback. I also think there is something about people who are, you know, this isn't their first rodeo. They've been in the industry for 20, 30 years. They don't understand fully like what my job is, and they do think I'm the fun police. And it's just like, I just take it and go, I understand that you don't want to set this choreography, or like you want to be like, we're fine, why are you here? And too bad. Too bad, you know, because I don't know you, and I am in charge of making sure that everybody feels safe. And so, no, we're not going to change the choreography once we've said it. You're not allowed to do that. It has to stay the same, because I don't know you, and you could be a creep. You know, I have to plan for the lowest common denominator. I have to plan for it to be the worst, so that we all get to be delighted when it's the best. But you have to plan for it to be the worst, because what if somebody is great and it's fine, and then all of a sudden it's not, you know? So it's like creating all these safety things around it to be like, you know, if it loses some spontaneity, act better. IDK. You know? But I don't find that it loses spontaneity. I don't find it loses that organic chemistry when I have time to work it. When I have time, you know, when I have time to come in and create, and the actors get to have agency over what they're doing and what feels good in their bodies. If I come in and I go, you're doing this body math and we're doing this specific choreography, and that's that, I've already choreographed it and you don't get to have any say, like, well, yeah, they're going to feel like this doesn't work. But I come in with a more organic approach and I'm like, let's figure this out together. Let's collaborate on this moment so that it feels right for your characters and in your body. Because if I choreograph something that doesn't work for your body, then yeah, it's gonna look bad. It's gonna feel stilted. It's gonna, you know, if I choreograph something that has you counting for, you know, we're gonna do this for, okay, and then in your head count 5, 6, 7, 8, like it's just gonna be dead. So let's create something that feels like we can breathe through it, like we can live in it, like we can act in it, you know, and then you can act in it.
Yeah.
But you have to have time for that.
Yeah. Do you think that's the biggest thing kind of missing right now in like making, you know, like I was saying, like making sets and making theater spaces like better for individual actors? Is it time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. I think, yeah, I do think so, because when I have time for, I mean, it depends on the project and the budget and blah, 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 blah. But when I'm working on a movie or a TV show and I get rehearsal time with the actors, then they know exactly what's happening the day of. And we've already talked about it. We've already said it. They already know all of the ins and outs. But when I show up on the day and I go, hi, here's all your intimacy wear. Let's figure out if it fits you, if it's comfortable. Let's get you adjusted to that. Let me give you I often joke that my job is just giving you a million options and seeing what works for you. So it's like, there's a million options to go through. And then they're like, what? And then we have to use this ball. And then we're supposed to be breathing. We're supposed to be moaning. I can't even remember where to put my hands. There's this person in front of me and now there's like a camera watching me. You know, it's like, yeah, if we have rehearsal time, if we have half an hour on the day with nobody around to just like make it happen. But in movies, time is money, right? So
yeah,
I do think that it's often better though. Like I've had experiences where it's like the actors, we have that rehearsal and they're looking at me panicked because they've never had sex on screen before. You know, they're like, I'm so body conscious. I'm so worried. And then we get to the day and the body conscious person goes, yeah, you know what? I know exactly what's happening. I know where my character beats are. I know where the camera is. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to be brave and I am going to do this with no shirt on. And you go, oh, gorgeous. I'm so happy that we had this process to help you feel safe to get to that decision if that's what you want. Like, and then the people who are like so panicked and nervous because they're going to be mostly naked and in these weird garments are like, but it's okay because I know what I'm doing. I know what the camera's doing, or in theater, it's like, yeah, this is big and scary, but I know where the audience is. I know all the different choreography. I feel really connected with my partner. We've discussed everything. Like, it's all safe. Like, yeah. Time is money, though, so it's hard.
My producer brain goes, yeah, time is money, sure. Won't that inevitably save money? Because on the day, you're like, bing, bang, boom, we already know what to do. 1, 2 takes, we've practiced?
Yeah. Yes. And we had an hour this morning in wardrobe to fit everything.
Yeah.
So you're not coming out going, these are the underwear that they gave me this dance belt, but it is really tight and constrictive. And I can't wear that. And then we have to spend an hour a day, in theater, like, well, we're not going to be able to get you that cushioning piece until tomorrow. So now we can't rehearse it until tomorrow. And now it's your tech dress. So the first time you're doing this is on stage and lights in situ, like, no, please no. Which is where like I come back to like my own personal experiences. And I always am like, I think I'm the lowest common denominator because I'm like, I'd be terrified. I'd be so scared. I'd be like, I can't do this. I'd be panicking, like, I don't want people touching me. I don't want people seeing me. I feel so uncomfortable in like, no. So I'm always like, if I just check in with myself and I'm like, yeah, no, that seems like a nightmare. And then some actors are like, oh, I really don't care. I did Rocky Horror. And you're like, okay, so you're fine. That's great. But I am going to be annoying and keep checking in with you.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Because it just saves you. Then all of a sudden we're having to panic schedule this rehearsal in to fit it in before the tech dress. It's like if we had just given ourselves time and space, if we had done these wardrobe fittings and really had conversations about this, if I had been there for those things, if somebody had, it all just starts to pile up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, it's like that hindsight being 20/20, but like all of what you're saying, I'm like, makes total logical, pragmatic sense from a like producer brain. Being like, all of this makes complete sense and makes complete sense for like ease of filming. If we want to get it back down to brass tacks and make it super not like super about the money.
Yeah.
I can't really imagine what life was like. Thank goodness, I guess, because I wasn't there when an intimacy coordinator wasn't an option or an intimacy director wasn't an option in theater.
Yeah.
Like,
it's wild to think about. It's
wild.
Less than 10 years. I mean, it really arrived, intimacy coordinators really arrived post Me Too, which was 2017. So it's like, what? That is wild. How did we have fight directors and we didn't have intimacy coordinators? Like, you're just like, what?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's funny because I look at film prior to and then film now that I know intimacy coordinators have worked on, film and TV.
Like Bridgerton.
There is a huge difference. And I usually am clocking the like people who present as female in these. Yes. And I'm like, there is an ease. And if you can't see it, you're not looking hard enough.
Yeah. Or you just don't understand what ease and
you don't understand. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, why don't you know it? Okay. But yeah, I mean, and that comes back to when actors feel safe, like we all just make better art. Everybody just makes better art.
Yep.
And it looks better. And honestly, I think it's steamier.
100%.
I'm like, oh, we can make this so much steamier. Like,
100%.
We can have people like curling their toes in the audience. Like, no problem,
Yep.
And we get behind the scenes get to be like, oh, and we're just giggling. We're just, being silly, goofy, weird actors for the day.
I love that. I love it. So in your time from theater school till now, has there been anything about your career, this industry, that has been really surprising for you that you weren't expecting?
No? I mean, I think coming back to the delusion piece, I think, 20 to 24-year-old Christina would be like, oh, this is hard. Why isn't it happening for me yet? Which, it's not surprising logically because I knew, but I didn't know, you know? And then I think, as I've gotten older, I think I have been delighted by just how much better my art has gotten as I age, which comes from stripping away layers of myself that were in place to protect me. And obviously, like, late bloomer queer, like figuring that out, and then figuring out I'm trans, I'm non-binary. Like, that has just deepened my relationship with myself and therefore deepened my work as an actor. I, as a young artist was told always constantly, like, make your own work, make your own work, make your own work. And I always felt just so confronted by that. One, because that's all nice and good and well for everybody to tell you, but with what money, with what resources, with, like, stop saying that like it's so easy. And two, I just was like, I just didn't know who I was. I didn't know, and I thought I did, of course. And so now I've been delighted to find that as I've learned more about myself, as I've grown, as I've, realized my transness, worked through a lot of trauma and therapy, like, I'm now writing, which, 18-year-old me would be shocked. 24-year-old shocked. So now I'm like, I am working on my own stuff. I am like, my first short film is in post-production. I'm so excited about it. And I'm working on another short film that I'm like working really hard on writing. So I think the myth that we're told, especially as people who grow up as girls, that you're only, 20 to 25, that Leonardo DiCaprio cutoff, that is, and then when it doesn't happen for you within those age, you think, this is it. And then to find out that it's actually better, it just gets better and deeper and more delicious and it just gets better is like, oh my God, I can't wait to see what art I'm making in my 40s, like that is so, dang, I'm so excited, and the characters I get to audition for, like last year were the best characters I've ever gotten to audition for. And most of them were non-binary, like they're so much more interesting. I'm so much more invested, and I'm like, oh, right. Because now I understand that my non-binary identity, I'm like, right. I don't want to be playing ingenues. I don't want to be playing mean girls in college. Not that those characters aren't interesting, because to some people they really are. But for me personally, who I am, I'm not interested. Like, give me the weirdos. Give me the adults who are like in their lives. Like, I'm so much more interested in that. Yeah, I think that's what I've been surprised, delighted by. Yeah.
Well, with that being said, like, do you think theater school happened at the right time in your life? Or like, if you were to wake up tomorrow and had the opportunity to do it now, would you be like, yeah?
That's such a complicated question. Because, like, you could not pay me to go back. But at the same time, there has been, like, especially, like, understanding my identity and understanding my point of view way more, and trusting myself way more, and trusting my voice as an artist, and trusting my ideas as an artist, which is just, I think, very, very, very difficult to do as like a 19-year-old. Yes, do I wish I could train now with this? Yes. And I could never go back to theater school. So I take, I'm in class with like a coach who's like, we're on the same page, I feel like I don't want to train in that really intense, all in sort of way anymore. I want to be working. I want to be making, I often don't tell young actors to go to theater school anymore. I tell them to go to film school. I'm like, that's because that's where you want to end up. If that's where you want to end up, just go to film school. Like, if you want to be making films, if you want to be acting in films, just go to film school, take acting classes in one of the studios in the city. That's what I wish 18-year-old me had done. 18-year-old me would have been like, no, I'm trying to be an actor. I'm a serious actor, and I just hold their hand and go, okay. So theater school, no. Film school, maybe, but not. I don't want to go to a 4-year degree with 18-year-olds.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It's funny. Like, I get asked this question a lot about, like, if you woke up tomorrow, would you go to medical school?
Right.
Absolutely fucking not.
I mean, I just don't think you could. I don't think you could go to any school that you've gone through, because now you have to be delusional.
And I think that's where it comes from, the delusion of being that age.
Yes.
Of like, thank God I don't think university is a scam. I was in school for like 30 years, but like, it's kind of a scam. But like, the delusion of somebody of that age being like, I'm going to go and spend so much money for formal education. Yeah. And when you grow up and you realize that's dumb. Yeah. You would never have post-secondary. Yeah. You wouldn't have it.
I think also that ties into what we were talking about earlier about like, truly for our parents' generation, it was a vehicle of like climbing the social ladder.
Yes.
Absolutely. It was a vehicle. It is no longer a vehicle of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because it costs way too much money.
100%.
It's just like, so I think, I don't know, maybe it'll be different for not Gen Z, but maybe the generation after, because millennials are going like, that was a lie. I was sold a lie.
Yeah.
I was sold a lie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So true.
And it's crazy because right now, obviously the infrastructure in the job market outside of the arts, I think, is still very dependent on you having an undergraduate degree and then also a master's degree. Like, what, is everybody just going to get PhDs now? That's insane.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
With something like medical degree, it's like you literally can't practice.
Yeah. Like, at least there's a job.
Yes.
I think, so that's the tricky thing, I think. And that's where I think a bit of the scam comes in. Yeah. When, like, if you're not guaranteed a job after post-secondary education, it's a little weird.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know.
Yeah. I feel like go into trades. Like, you're guaranteed a job. Yeah. Pretty much. Trades are always necessary.
Always. Yeah.
Like, all the power to blue-collar workers.
Yep. Do you have any favorite moments from times on set, either as an actor or an intimacy coordinator, or times on the stage as both?
I saw this question and I was like, I don't know.
Funny stories.
I mean, okay, I'll give you a couple. I think when I was 17, I did a Disney movie, a Disney Channel original movie, and Disney money is wild. And we spent a week shooting at the Fairmont Royal York Hotel. And our green rooms, like our trailers, were hotel rooms.
Oh.
that was wild.
That's awesome.
That was absolutely wild. And like some of the cast like were like, can we stay? Like, can we stay in these? And I wish I had done that. But I was 17. And so I just was like, and I wasn't in all of the days. So it didn't really make sense for my character and me. But yeah, some of the other cast like just slept over in their hotel rooms. Like, that's crazy, you know? Wild. So I think that has been like one of those moments in film where you're just like, wow, money. I think on stage, which is just like a delightfully stark difference. Like, there was this production that I was part of Sarah Rule, who's one of my absolute favorite playwrights of all time. She has this play called In the Next Room, or the Vibrator play, which is about the origin story of the vibrator, which is to cure hysteria in women.
Yeah.
That's why they were created. And so it's about this play is about this doctor who uses the vibrator to cure hysteria in women. But doesn't know how to love his own wife, obviously. And this production, which was being done by my friends, and I wasn't in it, but they had to replace the doctor. So they cast me, and I had 8 rehearsals. And he's like the main character of the play after his wife. He's like his wife and him. And I had 8 rehearsals and not enough time. And we had run the show once, I think, before our dress and then preview. And so we were in preview, and I had several scenes where we went behind a screen. I used a vibrator on this character, and then something else would happen and the play would continue. And I lost track of what scene we were in, and I was behind the curtain being like, where are we? I don't know what's going on. And she had no lines to help me. And so I went off stage, and I found another actor backstage and was like, where are we? And she was like, I don't know. And I was like, what do you know? Oh, I've been, what's happening in this play? Like, oh my God, I've had no rehearsal. Like, this is crazy. And I went on stage, and oh my God, I absolutely beefed it. I went back on stage, just made a decision about where we were in the play, and exited. And I exit, and there's this lovely other actor there with an umbrella, like waiting to go on stage for his final scene. And I looked at him, and I was like, I skipped it. You're not going back on. I skipped it. We're at the end of the play now. Like, we have to, a scene happens, and then it's the end of, and then we do the end of the play. And he was like, yeah, cool, no problem. I was like, thank you for being so sweet about that. Oh my God, it was horrible. It was so crazy. But I also,
that is a recurring nightmare that I have.
Yes. Like,
I think that's a lot of actors do.
Yes.
I have like anxiety by proxy right now. I'm so sorry.
No, like fully, it is the nightmare of all actors have of I'm on stage and I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know the show. I don't know where we are, and nobody is helping me.
Oh God.
Yeah, it was horrible. And then I got eaten up in a review for not knowing what I was doing, and then the production company reached out and was like, they've barely had any rehearsal, blah blah blah. And they also were like, why did you cast a woman in this role? And this is before I knew I was non-binary. And I was eating. I have so many memories that pop up of me just like taking pictures of myself with this cravat, and like I remember the watch giving me just so much. I didn't know at that point in time, but I was wearing this like manly watch, and it just gave me so much gender euphoria. I had no idea. And I look back at those photos now, and I'm like, oh, sweet angel, you just had no idea. So that's another reason why I love that production, because it's like, oh, like I loved being a man, and like this reviewer just had no gender expansive ideas. They're like, why did you cast a woman in this role? And we were like, who cares? Literally, who cares?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm playing a man.
Oh, God.
The character's a man, therefore I am a man. Like,
yeah.
shut up.
Shut up. Exactly. Oh,
Yeah.
man. I love that. I love it. It makes me anxious, but I also love it a lot. Yeah.
I'm like, well, if I did that, I could do anything.
Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah. If I like stumbled and fell and crawled my way through that, I could do anything.
You know what's funny? I think we all of us who've done anything on stage all have stories of when you just, right? I remember it happens, right? And I remember it happening to me in this show, and I thought I was having a stroke because I'd never like felt that before. And this was like show 4 of 6, and I was like, why? Like, we've done this before. I didn't know what was happening. And I just remember looking over at my friend Steph, who's on the stage with me, and she went to like, oh God, what's it called? Not here in town. Like the Juilliard of Toronto. Randolph. Sorry, Randolph. Yeah. So she's like, trained actor. I'm looking at her with abject horror and fear in my eyes. And then she's just like, I could just tell, like, it's that trained actor of like, I've got you. If you don't get this line in the next couple seconds, I'll just make something up because that's what you do. Yeah. And I was able to figure it out, but it was like that horror, terror, looking over, and like, this is what I love about theater so much, is looking over at my scene partner and her being like, I fucking got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's one of the best parts. Like, that's why it's live, baby. That's why it's live. Oh my God, yeah. Have you seen Only Murders in the Building season 3?
Yes.
Yeah. Steve Martin's entire White Room saga is just, it's glorious. It's the best. It's the perfect. You're just like, yeah, that is what it feels like.
Totally.
You go to a white room and you're somehow still on stage and yet not there. And it's crazy.
Yes.
Feeling like you're having a stroke it's just like, yeah, that is what it feels like.
Absolutely. But then you're right. Like, once that happens, I remember the director telling me, oh, you can handle anything now.
Yeah.
Anything.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, you've had it happen to you. Now
you did it.
You did it.
And now it
great.
Will inevitably eventually happen again.
And
you'll be fine. And you'll go, oh, it's happening again.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you'll either be lucky enough to have a scene partner on stage who will go, I've got you. Or you'll be there alone.
And nobody knows where you are in the play.
Yep. And then, you'll be there alone and you'll go,
okay.
And you'll either exit or you'll figure it out. You'll be halfway through a song and go, oh, here I am, and just continue,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why people come to see live theater, because it's
100%.
Yeah.
And it's funny, I think about like my improv training and them saying the audience loves to see you fail.
Oh my God, they do.
Love to see you fail.
It's so exciting. They have a story to tell.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's humanity. It's laughing at yourself internally or externally, and then just keeping on going.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have anything you are looking forward to coming up?
Wow. Well, I'm really excited to see our short film, Lady Fingers, that we just worked on. I'm excited for that to come out. I have a project that's out already, and we're in the final episodes of it airing. It's called Settle Down, that I'm excited. Everybody should go watch it. It's on OTV. Other than that, my own projects, like I'm in post-production with my first film. And so that is really exciting to me. It's called Sludge, and it's about like dissociation, and you're like sludge monster that you become when you dissociate.
Oh my gosh, I love it.
And that has animation in it. So I'm really excited to that's something that's totally new to me that I'm really excited about. I'm excited for more intimacy work. I have a production of Cabaret that's literally opening tomorrow. Cabaret right now.
Yeah.
Trump just posted like upside down pink triangles. Like it's crazy. I'm excited for playing Dungeons and Dragons with my friends. another super creative outlet, I'm excited for my, like being in community with people and holding hands and surviving this just horrific time we are living through and in.
Yeah.
I'm excited for the Inside Out Festival. I have this industry pass for this Inside Out Festival, which is like all queer films. So I'm so excited. Last year I went, I saw so many trans films, and I'm just so excited for more trans films. I just want more trans art always and forever. And it doesn't have to be about being trans, just made by trans people about whatever they want to make art about. I'm excited for that.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
Lots of things to look forward to, even though...
Oh my God, so many things.
Even though it feels like there's nothing to hope for, there is always hope and community and
much.
The people in front of you and around you.
Yeah. There's so much. There's so many people creating things that didn't exist in the world that before that are now starting to exist. And you're like, ha, suck it.
We're winning inch by inch.
Yeah.
Inch by inch, baby.
We're just making more stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. And we exist and we will exist and we will continue to exist. Yeah.
Do you have any final words of wisdom or advice?
God. I don't know. Just make art, dude. Even when you don't want to, even when it's hard, even when you're bad at it, make bad art. Make bad art. Make bad art, which is so scary and daunting, and you don't want to spend time and energy, especially with film. Making a bad film, just there's so much that goes into it, but make bad art. Make art for art's sake, not to make money, which as artists is so hard because it is the way we make money. So having a private art practice that's just for you, just for the sake of making art, I think is so essential. Yeah. And that art can be bad. It can be bad. You can just make stupid drawings that are bad but make you feel good.
Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. And thank you, Christina, for being my guest this week. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule on finally a sunny Friday in this crazy city of Toronto to speak with me and with my guests. I am so thrilled we have connected. Again, they were the intimacy coordinator on 2 of my films, everybody, and they are incredible at what they do. And I hope you all will tune in next week for another episode of Second Act Actors. Bye!